Oklahoma passes a law to protect citizens from violent protesting riots, and the media frames it as a breach of your First Amendment rights. Welcome to Hide and Seek Media. Today, Oklahoma hits national news because of a law the governor just signed into place, basically giving immunity to people who are fleeing a riot in their vehicle. So if protesters are, blocking the roadway and then they start to attack your vehicle, if you feel like your life is in danger or they are going to commit bodily harm to you, then you can drive away. And anybody who is hurt in the process, you are not responsible for nor liable for any of the injuries or, responsibilities thereafter. I think it's perfect because if that's your idea of protesting, then you have a severely deranged idea of how to get your point across in this country. Violence never wins out, okay? And so becoming violent is just going to beget more violence. And if you become violent and start attacking somebody's vehicle, they're going to drive away. And you are going to violently get hit by a moving vehicle because your dumbass decided to be in a road. Look, there are better ways to protest. Getting out in the street and blocking the roadway isn't one of them. But if you do, don't attack people's vehicles and you won't get hit. This bill doesn't allow people just to run you over if you're in the middle of the street. It says fleeing a riot, which means that your vehicle has to be being attacked for you to be able to flee in a manner that would, where you could accidentally cause bodily harm to somebody. It's not saying that if you see a bunch of people crossing the road and you want to get through, that you can just hammer on the gas and run them over. That would be stupid. But that's what the media wants you to believe this bill says. And so they keep framing it like it's, Oklahoma signs bill that gives, that decriminalizes people running over protesters. And it's like, what? No, that's not the case at all, right? One headline says, new Oklahoma law targets protesters while protecting drivers who hit them. And it's like, okay, the bill doesn't target protesters. It targets angry mob rule who are attacking people's vehicles. That's what it addresses. And if you don't see that as a criminal act, okay, then there's something wrong with you. And then you need to reevaluate your moral compass. Because attacking somebody else's vehicle while they're in it is essentially assault. And if it's a mob, put yourself in that position. Flip the roles around. Sit in that car and let a bunch of other people bang on it and scream and tell them they're going to kill you and all that. And tell me you don't drive away. That's what I thought. Right? So don't be a hypocrite and start, and frame these headlines like, Oklahoma is passing laws where people can just run over people in the street for no reason. People protesting, we don't like it. Run over those Black Lives Matter people because they're in the middle of the street. Yeah, that's not what this law says. So before you start writing stupid headlines like that, make sure you go and read the bill. Do your research. But they have, and that's the problem. They've done their research. They know what it says, and they still try to frame it this way. And then, you read in the article, and they'll put in quotation marks that it's fleeing a riot, right? They put in quotation marks to make you think that that's just their way of legitimizing it. And it's like, nobody in their right mind believes that this bill was done so that people could just run other people over in the street. And if you believe that, then like I said, you're not in your right mind and you should get your mind checked. You should get your head checked out, right? Because you have some serious issues. But going back to this bill, right? And Oklahoma is not the only state that did this, mind you. All right. Now we may have passed the most. I think we're passing like 11 anti-riot bills here in Oklahoma, which, hey, reddest state in the nation, baby. 2016 and 2020, not one county in the entire state went blue. Not one. All right. So you want to talk about red? Oklahoma's red. There's no chance of this place ever turning purple. All right. So yes, we're passing like 11 anti-riot laws altogether. And why? Because we ain't going to put up with that crap. And let me tell you this. Here in Oklahoma, we have constitutional carry. You know, here in Oklahoma, everybody has a gun. All right? So you really want to be running up on people's cars when they could have firearms in there? I don't think that's smart. So I kind of look at this law as a way of saving protesters' lives more than it is giving people in vehicles the right to run them over. Because here in Oklahoma, you start attacking people's cars and they won't run you over. They'll just shoot you. Constitutional carry. Okay? Everybody can carry a loaded firearm in their car now. Not smart to go attacking and rushing people's cars here in Oklahoma. Alright? But apparently Black Lives Matter thinks it's against their First Amendment rights, you know, trying to stop people from protesting. Nowhere in the bill does it say you cannot protest in the street. It says you can do it, but you'll end up with a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in jail, and a $5,000 fine. But you're more than welcome to do it. It's just like your seatbelt. Okay? No one's telling you you have to wear it. You don't have to. You can make the choice not to wear your seatbelt, right? But if you don't wear your seatbelt and you get pulled over by the police, what happens? You get a fine. You get a ticket. You get reprimanded and told to wear your seatbelt. And then you get sent on your way, okay? So, you want to protest out in the street? Stand out in the street and picket and hold your signs and do whatever? Fine. But when the cops get called and they come and they arrest you, okay, you're going to get a misdemeanor, up to 1 year in jail. Probably won't happen 1 year in jail, but you'll probably end up no time served or community service, and you'll get a fine. Okay, that's what happens. But nowhere in this bill does it say that if you're just standing in the street holding a sign, picketing or whatever, that anybody that driving on the road has the right to just run you over. All right, but all these. Even here in Oklahoma, okay? Even here in Oklahoma, Channel 4, right? KFOR, Channel 4, which apparently I just found out is the affiliate of CNN here in Oklahoma. So all of you folks out there in Oklahoma who are paying attention, if you hate CNN and you watch K4, you kind of don't hate CNN. Or you've been betrayed and you didn't know it until just now. So I'm glad I watched News 9 myself. But here at K4, headline from K4. Contentious Oklahoma bill to protect drivers who run over protesters signed into law. This is an Oklahoma news channel. Okay, contentious Oklahoma bill. That is a CNN headline masked in Oklahoma news. Okay? So, apparently, all these activists and all these BLM riders think that this bill is just another way to impede their First Amendment rights. And I really don't hear that argument. Now, if you can make that argument, by all means, make sure to leave a comment down below and make that argument. Because I don't see it, all right? I don't see any... It's not saying you can't protest, all right? It's saying you can't violently attack somebody's car while they're in it, okay? And expect them to not drive away. Or be able to hold them liable for any injuries you occur when they do drive away. Because your dumbass decided to attack their car in the middle of the roadway. So, read the bill, pay attention, know what you're talking about before you go spewing off crap, and quit trying to polarize everything, quit trying to divide us even more, and race bait on all this stuff. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is all trying to just race bait and divide the country even more. All right? Like the Georgia laws, calling the Georgia laws Jim Crow 2.0. The president said this not too long ago. Yet the voting laws in his home state of Delaware are even more strict than the laws in Georgia. And if there's been systemic racism, in our government, in this country for however long, when is Joe Biden going to accept responsibility for some of that? When is President Biden going to stand up and say, I'm responsible for some of the systemic racism that's been going on in this country because I've been a politician for 50-something years and I've never changed anything? As a matter of fact, I gave the eulogy at a KKK member's funeral. And I once said I didn't agree with integration of schools because I didn't want them turning into urban jungles. So, President Biden, until you can take ownership for your role in the systemic racism in this country, I think you should be quiet on it. Or tell the truth to the American people that systemic racism doesn't exist in this country, and it hasn't since the Civil Rights Movement. There is not one law on the books that is inherently racist, that says you cannot do something because of the color of your skin or the race of which you are. But you know what? There are laws on the books that say I can't call somebody by a certain pronoun because of the way they identify. Let's think about that for a minute. All in all, BLM, you want to riot, you want to protest, that's fine. You want to riot, you got problems coming, okay? And that's why these bills were signed, to stop the riots, to stop the property destruction, to stop the burning of cities, or to prevent it from happening here, okay? That's why these bills were signed, because Oklahoma City isn't going to be like Minneapolis. That's not going to happen. Not here. I can promise you that. Like I said before, Oklahoma is probably the reddest state in the country. And if you've made it to the end of the video, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Smash that like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about the video, your opinions on the topic, and what I can do to improve these videos. If you really like my content, make sure to share this video so that other people can see it and reach the channel. I appreciate you guys watching, and thanks for tuning in. I'll check y'all later. Peace.